Hi and welcome to the fact that even though I have a whole wardrobe full of gorgeous knitwear, I wear two things on repeat. Hi, my name is Elizabeth. I'm a knitter from Sweden and I am a notorious gift knitter for Christmas. I do a lot of my gift giving through things that I've made myself, things that I find useful for the people I love. My favourite thing to knit and to give is socks. Currently working on a pair of socks for my sister-in-law, and I wanted to branch out. So this year I am doing a mini series about if you start knitting now, you'll be done by Christmas, different editions. And today is the boyfriend edition. For those of us unfortunate enough or fortunate enough to be attracted to men, this is what I would suggest knitting for a man that you live with or that you enjoy spending time with. You might want to look that up though if that's something you actually want or if it's something that society has made you think that you want. Anyway, some of us do enjoy certain men's company, and when we have found a man who is actually worth knitting for, my first guess, just right off the bat, is going to be he's neurospicy. I would therefore suggest that you knit him something very soft. No scratchy stuff, except one exception. So I have 3 ideas, the same basic idea that I had in my last few videos about nibblings and your cool aunt. So for the man in your life, I would suggest, first of all, knitting a pair of colourwork socks. I found the Home is Where You Park It sock by Stone Knits. It is part of her Charming Colourwork book, Charming Colourwork Socks book, or Joyful Colourwork Socks. Let me double check that for you. Joyful Colourwork Socks, 25 new knitting patterns for fun and whimsical footwear. And I love the look of these. These are a fairly small amount of colourwork, so just around the very top of the cuff. And then you would knit in a single colour. You could do a ribbed for the foot to get that extra comfort. If you don't want your partner, your neurospicy partner, to have socks that sort of bunch up, I would suggest knitting them in a rib so that they keep stuck to the foot or shape themselves to the foot. These are light fingering weight yarn. Stone Knits, so Charlotte Stone herself, suggests a 2.25mm needle and a 2.5mm needle. I so far haven't really had luck with her gauge. I think we are very different. We have very different tightnesses of colourwork needing colourwork knitting. Granted, I am very new at colourwork knitting. I've been doing this for a few years and I'm not a knitwear designer and I'm not a colourwork knitter at all of her calibre. But watch out for that. If you are new to colourwork, do make sure that you actually try out a few different tensions and needle sizes before you commit to knitting the entire sock and realising this does not fit over anyone's foot. So learn from many of our mistakes and gauge swatch, and make sure to try on the colourwork section as you go to see that it still fits over the heel, which is most of the time the most tricky part to get over. So something can look stretchy enough for the foot part, but then you realise it has to go over the heel as well. So this is a pattern that is available in 3 sizes. I think it is most of the time up to a size 40 European, based off of vibes and feelings. Oh, and she actually has it available on Ravelry. I think one of her previous patterns wasn't available on Ravelry, so you can actually get this online. This is 5 Swiss franc 29, which is 65 kroners Swedish, so about €6. And it calls for, as I said, a light fingering weight yarn. She uses 3 colours for the colourwork sections, but this is endlessly customizable. So get your man's favourite colour, use your scrap yarn, do whatever you need to make these very, very cute camper van socks happen. For a typical man size, I would definitely go for the largest size to get the circumference. You might need to add some stitches, so add stitches in between the repetitions of the pattern. So say that there are 3 stitches between every car, just do 4 stitches instead and see if that makes it the size that you need, and make the foot longer, and then that should be customizable enough size-wise as well. So that is the first pattern. I will go straight on to the next pattern, which is the exception that I was talking about. So soft projects are a great idea. Socks, for most people, are not as tricky to deal with as, for example, something that would go around your neck. So something that is scratchy around the neck would be terrible for a neurospicy person, and socks can definitely be terrible for neurospicy people, but they're not as difficult to deal with, in my experience, working with neurospicy people, than something that would be around the neck. So a normal sock yarn would work great. This next pattern is actually supposed to be scratchy because this is an exfoliating scrub glove. This is a pattern by Liz Darcy, and I hope that this is a reference to Elizabeth Bennet, married to Mr. Darcy, and the flexing the hand scene. That would be amazing. Or it's just their given name, and congratulations to them for having an awesome name. This is a free Ravelry download. It's knit on scratchy Aran weight yarn, so something that contains a lot of acrylics, maybe that leftover glitter stuff that you bought for that very specific project that you then realise that you hate because it's so scratchy. This is going to be terrible to knit, but I think it could actually be useful. So it is basically a bag with a rib around the open edge, so it cinches in around the hand and you would use it as a scrub. This is knit on a 3.5mm needle, and I think it would be a fairly quick knit because, as I said, it's a rib and then it's a tube and then you close it. I don't know if it even contains any decreases. It might just be sewn in either with a Kitchener stitch or just a felled stitch, because honestly with this fuzzy yarn or this prickly yarn, you're not going to see the seam anyway. So this project, very quick, together with something that smells nice but not overwhelming. So a body scrub, for example, I would recommend a sugar scrub, because a salt scrub, although it sounds nice, it's going to be painful on any open cuts. And if I know your neurospicy man right, he will not have very happy hands in the dead of winter. They will be chapped, and sugar scrubs is far better than salt scrubs for open wounds on cracked, dry hands. So I'm just saying, he wants to be soft, he wants to smell nice, and this is something that he can actually use. And then quickly on to the last project, or this is actually 2 different projects. One is a paid pattern and one is a free pattern. I will go with the paid pattern first because this is the tailgate party hat and mittens. This is a design by Wendy Gal, and it is an ear flap hat with matching mittens that go in a gradient from one colour with stripes onto the next. This is great for those awkward half amounts of yarn that you have. So for example, that really beautiful skein of hand dyed 100% wool yarn that you got that isn't really enough for anything bigger, this together with something else will make for a great yarn for this. So this pattern calls for a worsted weight yarn and it's knit on a 4mm needle. So it's also a fairly quick project in that way. And since you work with the different colours in the rounds, you can then also decide at what point you start the gradient. So say for example that you have a lot more of one of the yarns than the other, you'll just start the gradient a bit later or stretch it out. This pattern also comes in a bunch of sizes. It comes in toddler, child, adult small and adult large. It is $5.30 through Ravelry, and I really like it. It's obviously also so customizable with the colors. If your man has a favorite team or is a nerd in a certain fandom, get him those colors. And this is also such a good scrap busting project, I think, because you can customize them so well. One thing that I would caution against is doing the exact same color distribution for all of the 3 pieces, because your neurospicy man will probably not be the most attentive of his surroundings. So he will go in somewhere, pull the stuff off, push it down one of the pockets or place it on a shelf somewhere, and then when he leaves goes to grab them, forgets one of them but doesn't realise because he just pulls out a bunch of this knitted stuff, and then 4 blocks down he realises, oh shit, I lost one of the mittens, or wait, where is the hat? So do with that as you want. You know your man best, hopefully, and we know that they can't be trusted. Some men are great. On a group level, they can't really be trusted, but if you have a knit-worthy man, this might be a thing for him. And then I have a last pattern that is a free pattern, and it's also a mitten and hat combination. Let me find this. This is the All Roads Hat and Mittens by Pearl Soho. And this sub-designer is Lily Tobias, or Tobias as I would say in Swedish. I don't know if that is the main designer behind Pearl Soho. I haven't really come in contact with their brand before, but I've heard the name a lot, and when I saw that this is a free pattern, I really liked that. So this is a pair of mittens that look like they are knit sideways, so not up but sideways, and then probably seamed together. These then have a stripe going up the middle, and the hat is also knit the same way, so it is a ribbed hat, but it's ribbed the other way, and it has these columns going up in a contrasting colour, and I really like the combination of the colours that they have in the promo pictures. So the off beige white and the rusty orange, I think it's really beautiful, and I'm very tempted to make this myself. If anything in this pattern roundup, this is probably what I would cast on, because as I said, it's such a neat pattern. I really like the look of it. I've never knit a beanie before, so, and I am planning on knitting one for myself with that ridiculously fuzzy yellow yarn that I got in Norway over the summer. So this might be what I go for. So the yarn recommended is a sport weight, and it's knit on a 3.5mm needle, and it doesn't call for too much yarn. It could actually be enough for my for those 2 balls of the fuzzy yarn, because I realized that I bought far too little of the yarn for anything wearable except a beanie, and I haven't really gotten around to actually figuring out what beanie to knit, because I was looking at the Musselburgh hat, as everyone probably has, and that calls for way too much yarn, and I have just a ridiculously small amount because it's so fuzzy. I didn't really look at the weight and the yardage per the weight, but only, oh, this looks like I could make something with this. So I think 160 meters could actually be enough for at least a part of this. Or wait, maybe they estimate the yardage based on just part of the pattern. So I will have to see. But this is actually a pattern that looks really tempting. It is available in one size, is it? Hang on. I'm going to download this as we speak. Pulsoho also has a banner at the top of their website saying, join us to help those in need. Click here to donate to Feeding America or to find your local food bank. Absolutely insane that a yarn company has to do that. But also not surprising, because what the fuck? Okay, and this website is making me think of those ridiculous recipe websites where you have to scroll for 5 minutes until you get to the actual recipe. This is exactly what I'm doing now. I've scrolled for ages. Okay, now we're actually at gauge and sizes. Okay, it comes in baby, toddler, kid, adult, small, medium, adult, medium, large. And they only give inch circumferences. I don't know why that is a unit when centimeters are so much better. I woke up on the salty side of the bed today. And the mittens also come in baby, toddler, kid, adult, small, medium, adult, medium, large, so 5 sizes. Okay, so I think that could be a cute thing to knit for your partner as well. If your partner identifies as male, or if you identified them as a himbo of any sort, knit them some of these, because they need something soft. They need something that is warm enough. And honestly, my first instinct was to tell you that, oh, knit them something soft, but knit them something that is washable, or that they can chuck in the washing machine and forget about. But we should not be babying what I'm assuming are adult men. So this is an excellent opportunity to fuck around and find out. Make them something that is pretty and nice and doesn't take too much time, because if they haven't proven themselves knit worthy before now, and you don't know that they can be trusted with a knit item, this is a very good test. Not saying that you should test your partner, that is toxic behavior that we do not stand for, but if your partner gets a knitted gift that you've made with your own hands and you tell them this can only be washed with a cold cycle and no, what are they called? Dryers, thank you. And they, in 2 weeks, come back and tell you that they shrunk the hat that you made them. Noted. Now you know. The socks, I would definitely recommend knitting with a normal sock yarn, because socks, they should be washed after every use. But mittens, hats, they should go a few uses between washes, or if you even need to wash them at all. I'm not saying that you do need to wash them, but I mean, anyone with a brain will know when a thing should be washed. But I'm talking about men. Anyway, don't give them something that you've put hours and hours and hours and hours into before you know that they can be trusted with the thing. My video for a girlfriend or a female identifying partner is probably not going to sound the same. I realise this, and you can draw your own conclusions, but save yourself the heartache. Don't knit them a super intricate thing before you know that they can take care of the thing. And I would also say, use your judgment. So because in my last video about the nibblings, I said that if you give your nibbling something that has to be washed a certain way, tell their parents that you will wash it for them, because they can't be held responsible for messing it up. So if it's something that a nibbling needs to be washed, you should wash it for them. That should be a part of the gift. But for your adult partner, I don't think that is something that you should require. I don't think that is a healthy way of viewing your partner's capabilities. So they will learn. If they haven't learned yet, they will learn the hard way, or never be gifted a knit item again. So socks need to be durable, they need to contain some nylon, in my opinion, and the loofah probably is even better with 100% acrylic or plastic yarn of some sort to get that really scrubby thing, and to be able to wash it on quite a high heat, because you would want to get the dead skin cells and grossness out of it, because it's going to be a cleaning product for the body. But the hats and the mittens would definitely, in my opinion, in my personal taste, be better if they were in a 100% natural fibre, and then 100% wool of some sort. So not mohair, that's going to be itchy and overstimulating for him, but merino or 100% wool. And these are all projects that I think that you, as of today, the 10th of November, could actually be finished by Christmas with. Could be finished with by Christmas, if you start knitting now. But don't procrastinate any longer. We don't have that much time left. I am, as I said, just finishing up the pair of socks for my sister-in-law. I am chuffed with these. Very happy with how they are looking. I'm practicing my colour work tension. It is going. I'm learning. I'm not saying that it's perfect. It's by no means perfect, but this is a practice. This is a part of the practice that I do. I am also about to cast on a pair of socks for my other sister-in-law. I'm knitting socks for my 3 nibblings, and I am maybe knitting something for my partner this year. But I don't know yet if I'm knitting him something new or if I'm re-knitting something old, because the roundup sweater that I made for him last year needs to be modified, and that modification is going to require a lot of work, and I think that might be my Christmas gift for him this year around. I will see. That doesn't have priority. Socks for knit-worthy people has priority over fixing a sweater that is perfectly usable, just not perfect yet. If you liked the video, do like it. You know what to click. If you want to subscribe, go ahead and do that. I love seeing that number rise. I've had a little bit of a plateau in the last few days after a spike, and I would love to see it continue going up. But that is dependent on good quality content, and let me know what you want to see, what is good quality for you. I know what I like to film and I know what I like to watch, but I'm not one of my subscribers, so you tell me and we'll make this work. I hope you have a great day, and I will see you in my next video.